just something quick for you. He gets a few things out of the way, and then if I remember, hopefully I will show you this at the end. But this here is actually my main discovery. You know, how all these are not rock cut structures, they are literally the imprints of structures, cities, mainly from concrete turning into lime and sandstone. I've no need to go through it again, but that is actually the direction that I need to go in. I need to expand on that more, is what I'm saying. I'm just showing you a few things, and most of this stuff here is actually there later. I'll get to it shortly, but what interested me about this is, now you see how brand new that is there. It's actually, I mean, it looks brand spanking new, and yet you've got this on top. Now some will say, well, you know, this was built later, it's inferior, but I don't think that. I mean, even that pillar looks brand new there, and then obviously this was more buried in silt, sand for some time, might have been even excavated at some point. But just look how brand new that is there compared to this stuff here. This is in Peru. I was going to touch on this quite a bit, and I'm not actually sure what I'm looking at, so I'll leave it in your hands. Yes, many of you will have seen these streets in Peru, and you've got these megalithic walls here. But it looks like that, what I'm getting at, I don't know if this is literally, you know, because it looks like there's some pipes down here, so I mean, are these just gas pipes and they're doing something with electrics or gas? And this street was literally constructed like this, and these are also sewers as well, or is this something ancient that's collapsed and then they've laid these modern street tiles on top of here? I'll leave it in your hands. It obviously goes down much further. This thing here is going to be in a video soon enough. This is Bulgaria. This entire thing was a structure, a mega structure made out of concrete that's been completely pulverised and turned into what you see now. And how I know that is the reason why this floor here is the same thickness all the way across. Right, but can you see how there's these holes here, kind of shaped like a bath? Yes, they're shaped like a bath. That one would have been, but it's since got knocked through or fell through. There's actually one hidden there as well, as this mineralized over this, yeah, as it was turning to rock. You know, it dribbled down and turned and hardened over it. If there's any builders out there, engineers that have worked on bridges, you know, that expand over large areas, this, you see this shape here, shaped like a bath, is exactly, and I'm talking about exactly, how they construct bridges today over, you know, long expanses. And they're actually joined together. I'm not sure if it's there or there. You would think it would be there, but I think it's actually where the hole is actually. But anyway, you know, they're like that, so they can be joined together and they're slightly flexible, yeah. So this was something enormous that's since corroded away, and this has just, you know, it's just turned to this over time. It must have been some type of mega structure for it to be built in that way. That will be in a video, and I will show you comparisons exactly the same. This even here, I've had these in videos before, because this is, they put this forward, anything that looks like this they put down as being a tomb and Romana, yeah. But this was layered on here later. This was from a pre-civilization or a pre-world, and this stuff was layered over the top to make it look like this, yeah. And how I know that is because it's obvious. You can see it there. Can you see that line? This is hard rock. It's now become hard rock, and this is, you know, like a plaster almost, yeah. And it's smeared over it. You can see it there. It's right there. So this is not original. but the hole is, and whatever this thing was, this entire mountainside, even these pillars, there's a thin smothering over that to make it look like a pillar, but these were like beams. You can even see the remnant of metal in there. Okay, it's just not original is what I'm talking about. Even something like this, this was a structure that's completely collapsed and turned to limestone. They may have turned these into tombs at some point. Can you see how this is a different colour? You know, because the lime gets sucked to the outside, like I've told you before and shown you. So as they've been carving this stuff away, you know, because it's only a small job that can do that, you can see the sand underneath, can't you? Yeah, can you see that? So that's not as old as what they're making out. Right, the rest of these images are all in Cyrene, Tripoli, in Libya, okay? I just decided to go looking at one place, and this thing, you know, when you look at this you would think, oh, they laid all this stuff on a hill. No, they didn't. You wouldn't do that. I've told you, just about every single hill that you see that's unnatural on a plane is a structure. It's got a structure underneath it, right? Or some type of, you know, hard rock formation that's connected to the ground, right? This was some huge, almost well, it was, you know, a skyscraper type building, because even when the Twin Towers fell down, there wasn't as much rubble as this, and most of it will still be buried. And now I know that is because that's what it looks like. This is a close-up on a small area, and it's turned into limestone. You can see, yeah, it was a huge mega structure. This is in the same place, and this is metal framing here, like on the last video I showed you, back engineering the ancient world. It's something similar to that. And if you're doubting that it is, can you see where as this collapsed, this area has actually bent, yeah, and it has bent. They're not urinals like mainstream archaeology would have you believe. You can see where it's actually been pushed up in areas. That is different to this and different to that, because it's been pushed down and it's bent it up. And the reason why it's green is because it was metal and it's mineralized, yeah, and it's turning to stone. The rest of it is in there. These images again are on my Google page, go check them. They also like doing things like this, something like this. You know, show any engineer this stuff and they'll tell you exactly what they're looking at. But they do like putting baskets in places like this, you know, and rags, someone's underpants, you know, to make you think that people in loincloths and feathers in their hair and that could build something like this, yeah? But it's since turned to limestone, like this. This was all concrete. It was some type of stadium, you know, like a huge concrete stadium that's since collapsed, and it turns into limestone. None of this was carved, was it? This stuff, even these pillars here, yeah, you know, because people think that these pillars were somehow machined, you know, cut, dragged around the world, and there wasn't. When you go look at this image, you will see that this is actually some type of lacquer, something over this, which is like a soft sandstone or something else. It's like built up, mud even, right? You will see it's a covering. Every single one is slightly different, like this. That is actually painting. This is not carved decoration, it is painting. But these, people think that these, you know, are huge blocks that's being carved, and you wouldn't do that, right? Because look, as time went on, if her arm fell away, you would have to replace the entire block. So you wouldn't do that, would you? They are plates, really thin tiled plates that can be replaced. This is Leptis magna. And just look how brand new that thing is there. How old do you think that is? And you see all these little holes here. This is not rebar, this. I can tell the difference, you know, when I tell you some of this stuff's rebar and framework. This isn't. This stuff is something softer. This is not hard concrete, and what that looks like to me, it looks like straw. It looks like that this is actually mud rock, some type of mud rock, and this is some type of binding. You know, they've binded it together with straw. You can see all these holes here, and that's why it looks like that, right? You might not be able to see as I'm showing you now. Right, oh yeah. You see this area here, all these little stones. It's basically rubble mixed in with some type of cement. This area is here. So, you know, it's like a mixture of building products, really. Or was this area replaced? And it must have been, because, I mean, that's brand new, isn't it? So obviously this was done God knows when, and the rest of it was done with mud rock, because I just showed you what it was binded with, and it was binded with hay or straw. This thing here, I've got nothing to say about it. I just found it really interesting. It looks like some of the stuff I've shown you in Belbeck. But the water have lifted this up in one piece. I can tell you now, this was a plasterer that's come and plastered an entire wall, but it's just fallen away in one piece. Okay, these are them plates, look. Yeah, and they put them on. You know, if you get any damage, you're not going to remove the entire wall, are you? You're going to remove this plate and stick it to the wall. I've shown you this is in Tripoli Magna again, and I've shown you loads of these things. These things are all over Egypt, and that's what I'm getting at, really. I suppose I have not mentioned it yet. The stuff that I normally show you lot in my videos cannot be from this period. You know, the people that make all the videos on the mud floods all over Europe and Russia. You know, the major cities, the capitals of in Europe today were literally dug out of the mud and built up on. Yeah, if you've not seen the mud flood series, you need to. But so that event can't have taken. It must have been a different event to everything else that I show you, because the level of devastation is completely different, isn't it? But what is under this? You see how smooth this is under here, and you've got this over the top of it, like these even. So it's no different to the stuff that you see in Egypt. Yeah, even this lion that they will tell you was carved out of the rock, it wasn't. And how I know it wasn't is because it's obviously some type of frame. The legs, well, you know, there will have been something similar to the legs and the body, and maybe a little stick for a head, and then the concreted around it, plastered concrete, some sort of substance, because the legs, the framework is underneath this. As look, you can see where the leg is cracked away there, revealing what's inside it. It can't get more obvious than that, can it? I don't think any of these were carved from rock. I think all this stuff was soft and layered piece by piece. I'm talking about, you know, maybe an entire wig. The hair was put on in one piece, yeah. Then the beard was put on, and it hardens. And how I know that is because you wouldn't be carving this and risk sticking your tool down that hole there, yeah, to be shaping that, to risk knocking that piece off and ruining the entire project. Absolutely nowhere. And now I know that to be true. It's from images like this. That just looks like some type of plaster. This thing here, you can see that line there. The hair might have even been replaced, like I've shown you a few times with other stuff. But when you come and look at the images, look at that beard, and if that's not clear enough for you that's just watching this video, why do you think these holes that you get in all these statues are there in the first place? These holes are